something like that. I don't know.
And in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. We would like to welcome Mike Brown out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, on the air. Mike, would you care to introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Michael, and I'm a regular guy, just trying to do my thing, and I am nobody's role model. But something I say might help you something serious. Something serious. Sorry, forgive my slur and stutter.
So, a regular guy, not a role model, coming out of Colorado Springs. Well, let's go ahead and start with our first question, Mike. So, there's a lot of ideas floating around about what's right, what's wrong, what we should do and should not do. Let's start here. What do you feel? What are ideological boundaries and what do you feel about them?
Well, we talked about this a little bit before the show, but let's see if I can try to keep it short and simple. As you know, I definitely have a tendency to wander into rants. I would say ideological boundaries are ideas that people hold that the general culture is asking us not to cross. And I feel about them that some of them are good and perfectly fine and we shouldn't cross them. And some of them I feel like we should tear them down because they are garbage.
So there are certain boundaries you feel that are garbage. What comes to mind when you think of those boundaries that are garbage?
Well, to clarify, I don't think that the boundaries are garbage. I think that the ideologies that they are asking us to hold boundaries to are garbage. And in today's America, there's a bunch of them. I guess to clarify my point, I would like to start. And I'm not a scholar by any means, but I would like to say that John
Well,
Adams said.
let me interrupt you for a second, other Mike. You use the word they. Who is they in this context?
Okay, how did I use it? How did I use it? Refresh me how I used it.
They don't want us to, or
Oh, they. Okay, they. Okay, in this context, I'm saying they don't want us to cross the boundaries of an individual's ideologies, right? So they don't
and
want
who is
to
the they?
interfere.
So who is
So
the
who
they?
is they?
Who is
So
they?
they are the people who are controlling what is the cultural norm in the American society today. It possibly they could also mean essentially the cultural norms of the majority of the modern world. Because it's not just America that's having, the type of experiences in the culture, and nobody else is having these experiences. The entirety of the modern world is sharing in the experience of the modern these strange things these strange ideologies that are becoming part of the modern culture that the people controlling the culture are asking us not to challenge.
Okay, so it sounds like they in this context are those people who are in positions of cultural influence.
That's mostly correct. I mean, it's not just the people in the position of cultural influence. These people might be police officers, doctors, lawyers, teachers, judges. newspaper guy, the Breitbart, he said politics are downstream from culture, and so these modern ideologies that have only existed for about the last 20 years in America have seeped into our modern political system, and they're tearing us apart from the inside. If you'd like, I would like to circle back now to the quote I was going to give, so that I can answer your first question, which was, or the original question, which I believe was, I believe the question was, what do I think about these ideologies?
So what are ideological boundaries, and how do you feel about them?
Oh, yeah, that's right. How do I feel about the ideological boundaries? I vaguely answered that, but to go ahead and give that quote, John Adams, one of our founding fathers in the United States, one of the people who helped make this country what it is today. Well, not what it is today, but helped found this country as a separate entity from its European overlords. John Adams said, "The American Republic is a system for the religious and the moral. It is not fit for any other kind of people." Okay, and I think when we dig into these words like religious, in the English context, religious refers more to tradition and ritual than it does to the actual state of belief. And of course, morality is intertwined into the.
Okay, so Mike, let me interrupt you. So John Adams, he said that the republic is for the religious and the moral. So listening to your words and feeling your tone, it feels like there's some type of fear, disagreement, some type of anger, and maybe disappointment.
Well, I don't know necessarily about that. I am driving right now at about 80 miles an hour down a highway, and there's a lot of background noise on my side, so I was just trying to speak more loudly so that I can make sure that you can hear me on your side. If I'm speaking too loudly or it sounds to be aggressive, please forgive me. But to go on with what I was saying, those statements like that are very significant in what America is and what we have come to know it to be. We have come to know America to be the freest country on the face of this planet. And in the modern American culture, we have grown to be so free that we...
Mike, I have to interrupt you. That's a buzzword. You use the word free, and that has so many different perspectives and meaning for so many different people. What does that word free mean to you? That way we can all be on the same page of what context that you're coming from with the word free.
Well, freedom in the context of the American founding fathers, I'll contextualize that first, and then I'll give my definition of freedom. Contextually, in the ideals of the founding fathers, is that freedom was to be permitted the right of self-governance, right? And the right of self-government, or self-governance rather, was strictly was to be the only way that a person could self-govern in the view of the founding fathers was if he was an upright, moral, and religious individual, and that without that character, the American Republic would eventually fall into tyranny and chaos through decadent behavior that would evaporate the ability of the American people to move about upon their own accord, because they would have to be controlled.